Meeting of September 11th. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
Okay, fire evacuation in case of a fire. There's two ways to exit the chambers. The doors right behind you. You can go out those doors, or to my left, your right. These doors, these double doors. There's an exit, and you go down those stairs and away from the building. Mr. Secretary, roll call, please.
Yes, Terrence Lynch is absent.
Present.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Ken. Linda DeGray,
Yeah.
John Petronola is here. Frank Alimo is absent. Joseph Muley.
Here.
Kenneth Alinsky is absent. Vinnie Grillo is absent. Christian D'Antonio.
Here.
Walter Crizel.
Here.
And Rob Anderson is absent.
And I am going to seat the two alternates, Commissioner D'Antonio, sorry, and Commissioner Crizel for the remainder of the meeting. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of July 24th.
Motion to approve July 24th minutes?
Second.
Okay, any corrections, discussions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Apparently, the town attorney report did not get into our packet. Yes.
It's actually in the master packet.
Oh, it is. All right, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
There's really no change.
Not that I am aware of.
Okay. We don't have a zoning enforcement report. At this time is our public participation. This point in the meeting, Planning and Zoning Commission welcomes comments, concerns, and opinions relating to planning and zoning in Enfield from anyone who is present, provided that no one may discuss any matter of business that is currently on our agenda. Anyone?
Mary Ann Turner, 7 Meadow Road. Commissioner DeGray, I think this is the only time I can speak about them all, since it's not a public hearing.
We'll have another public hearing for...
But I can't speak at this meeting.
Yes, you can.
Well, you can't speak on anything with the future that's planned to be on a future agenda.
Okay, then I'm sorry. You won't, because it's
We're
our...
receiving it tonight.
We're not receiving it, but it's a future.
No, we are.
No.
No. We are receiving it this evening, but
Oh.
since you know it will be on a future agenda, you
She
should
just
not
said
be
it.
discussing it.
You may not be discussing it, but I want to talk about it.
But I don't believe that that's correct.
I don't think you're accurate. So I'm going to continue, and you can have the town attorney get back to me. I've been told that when I come in front of this board, or similar boards, I'm here as a filibusterer. That was said from someone on this commission. To slow things down, and that there are only two of us who do this, and I say you're incorrect. This is the public gets the chance to talk to you because it's a time to share years of living in Enfield with people who come here to build it and to leave Enfield different. It's a chance to share with you and the people whose names will be on the plaque on that building or whatever it is you're going to build. I'm asking you to listen. I'm not here to slow you down, and I'm not here to filibuster you. I am here about sharing my experiences and ask you questions, and hopefully, I'm hoping you'll hear me. So my question tonight is simple. Are we truly getting what Enfield needs, wants, and expects, or what we're being pushed to accept? We've been here before in the 60s and the 70s, and we took federal dollars for urban renewal, and we ended up destroying the very heart of Thompsonville and many other towns surrounding us. Businesses were uprooted, neighborhoods were lost, the character has changed, the community fabric was torn, and we cannot afford to repeat that mistake by approving a plan that comes with a shining at first, but ages poorly and leaves us with problems for the decades. I'm talking about the mall. The project should not be dominated by asphalt or parking lots and density. Green space, trails, trees, and grass must be prominent features, not an afterthought, something that you wish you had. And with a project of this size, the residents will expect family-friendly amenities and make it a true community, and to be safe, well-designed playgrounds maybe for children to be there, a splash pad possibly, a small water park feature, a place where families can gather, because this development that you're going to talk about at some point or another has gone from being something that the town council reviewed of 400 apartments now to be 700 possibly, or there were supposed to be hotels and now they're not, maybe. There should be walking and biking trails on this. They should connect the neighborhoods together. They should encourage outdoor activity. I know that you will like that. Shaded picnic areas, seating, and open lawns for community use. Small pocket parks and gathering spaces spread throughout the development. Other amenities, which I've already mentioned, fitness stations, community gardens, will just add to the long-term value. Without these, this risks to becoming just another housing complex surrounded by pavement. I need you to look at what's going to be put in front of you. I'm also concerned about the jump of 450 apartments to 700. That's ridiculous. That's a massive increase. What changed, and what will it mean for the schools, the traffic, the sewers, our infrastructure, any of our services? And let's talk about the practical garages. Why are there no garages if this is going to be a mixed-use community? New England needs, it's not a luxury, it's a need. Without them, the residents face snow-covered cars and piles of snow here and there. And how will the snow be handled, which I'm sure you're all going to talk about? And where do the cars go in the storm? I don't know, they're going to move around all that asphalt. And why wasn't structured parking or garages even incorporated in this possible plan? If this project is to succeed and has more than the maximum units on maximum asphalt, it has to be a real community with open space, walkability, and sustainable design, family-friendly amenities, and practical features. Otherwise, 50 years from now, as we have been with Thompsonville, people will ask the same question of you. What did you do? What did you leave us? So, one of the things that was told to me at a meeting I was sitting in is that I'm supposed to come and hand out documents to you, and I'm supposed to give them to you in advance. But since I'm the public and don't have access to you, I'm going to leave them here. And these are going to give you a list of things I'd like you to consider. They're key concerns and opportunities. I am not telling you not to take advantage of this opportunity, but please do not build what they're asking you to build. Please build what your community has asked you to build. Complete with community needs versus development proposal, and I won't read you the dialogue, open space and design balance, density and housing mix, parking garages and snow handling, traffic and infrastructure, phasing and maintenance, amenities and community features, which I strongly suggest learn from the past, and this has positive opportunities. The revitalization of a long-blighted property is good for Enfield. I don't disagree. Jobs, businesses, tax revenue, real benefits. A mixed-use hub could become a vibrant community center, and it's designed for walkability, green space, and neighborhood character in mind. I am asking you to please, please, I have been in front of you before over the SDD thing. I'm not sure you heard me. I'm asking you, and I'm asking the public, please get here and look for what's good for you as Enfield residents. And I brought you copies of the previous documents called the Marketplace, in case you all didn't see it. I have the one from the first time they came in front of the council, but all of you should have these things in your packet, and if you don't, slow down and read it. Do not rush. This will make a huge difference for Enfield, and 50 years from now, I won't be here, but you'll be blamed.
Anyone else in the audience would like to speak? Anyone? Seeing no one, I'll call.
I have a new topic.
Okay.
This one absolutely isn't on your agenda. Mary Ann Turner, 7 Meadow Road. Pheasant Hill. I've been in front of you now many times, and you guys are all new to this complaint. They're still dumping in the buffer. I sent some pictures this morning to the chairman, to the mayor, to the town manager, to our zoning enforcement officer. I need you people to bring them back in here for a full site review. It has been 36 years I don't know why we can't follow the rules. I am not asking for anything new. I am not asking for you to give me 50 feet back. I'm up to 25 feet. I'm asking you to get the garbage out of the buffer. I'm asking you to follow the rules you've already put in place. Please do something about it. I'm in my third season of brush up to the fence because they've cut the trees down and dumped them. That's the last one, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay. Anyone else? For the second time? Third time? Closing public participation. Okay, bond releases. SPR 1872, 109 Elm Street.
Madam Chair? Rick is not here this evening, but basically this is a landscape bond for Golden Nozzle. He didn't really write any report. We just have like a kind of formatted release letter, which he has signed. So the request is to grant the landscape bond release of $3,293.73.
Okay,
Move to approve.
John.
Yes. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Enfield Planning Zoning Commission hereby approves the release of the landscape bond in the amount of $3,293.73 for the project SPR numbers 1872 located at 109 Elm Street, map 043, lot 007 to Pandolfo Company, Inc.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Roll call, please.
Linda DeGray,
Four.
Joseph Muley,
Four.
Terrence Lynch,
4.
Christian D'Antonio,
4.
Walter Crizel,
4.
and John Petronella is 4.
Okay. All right. Moving on, public hearing 3131. When you're ready, Mr. Secretary.
The Enfield Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at the regular meeting of Thursday, September 11th, 2025, at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, concerning the following application. Public hearing number 3131, 37 Pearl Street, 41 to 43 Pearl Street, application to allow change for use for a place of worship on the second floor. David Arce, applicant E&D Stovall LLC, owners, map 24, lot 79, TD5 zone.
Is the applicant here? Hi.
Hi.
Name and address, please, for the record.
Good evening. My name is David Arce. My address is, my physical address, 144 Wainola Avenue, New Britain, Connecticut, 06051.
Thank you. Tell us why you're here.
I am the pastor of the Christian Church Piniel. Our church has been an active and compassionate presence in the Enfield community for over 12 years. Beyond supporting our congregation, we offer outreach and assistance to the broader community through spiritual guidance, service, and care. I want to mention that we have given assistance not only to our members, to members of our congregation, but also to the community that surround us in form of spiritual guidance, and as I said, service and care. We are currently located at Suite 7, Unit 9 of North Main Street. We are seeking approval to rent the Unit 21 at 41 Pearl Street. It's a really close place. This space measures approximately 700 square feet and would serve as a new place of worship, allowing us to continue our positive contributions in a more accessible area in town. To do this, we respectfully request a modification to the previously approved use plan for this unit, accommodating religious gatherings, and worship. I'd like to mention that our services are on Sundays at 11 a.m. and Mondays at 7 p.m. What I mean by that is that it's not going to be conflicting with anything around us. Also, our attendance and parking, average attendance range between 20 and 30 parishioners per service. We anticipate a maximum of 11 vehicles per gathering. The building is conveniently located next to a municipal parking lot on the front right side, which provides adequate parking availability.
Thank you. Staff?
Yes, thank you, and welcome back, everybody. Here we are again, which is a good thing. So, yes, as Mr. Arce explained, this is a modification to a special use permit that permitted a church originally in that building. Only this time there is going to be a second church on the second story. So the original church will remain. The parking requirements for a church are not really dictated in the Thompsonville district, but typically they would be one space per 4 seats. One of the things that's interesting here is that although he's moving into this new building with his church, he currently is at 9 North Main Street, about 500 feet away, and the parishioners there that are going there currently utilize the same spaces that they will use when they move 500 feet away. So they are seeking a site plan waiver, as the applicant is not requesting any site plan modifications. A waiver of seeking waiver for reduction in parking per 8.123 number 6. Again, it's the same as utilized for the Mi Cultura that was granted. So basically, all of their parking is on street or in the municipal parking lot. And also a parking reduction, seeking waiver to reduce required on-site parking to 4 spaces, with remaining parking needs to be satisfied off-site. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Walter, any questions? Joe?
No.
Terrence?
Nope.
Christian?
No questions, just a comment that, I mean, it's perfectly reasonable right in the center of Thompsonville with the municipal parking. No concerns about that. You know, we want to encourage adaptive reuse of existing buildings which don't have their own parking. So, perfectly within reason. I'm in support.
John?
No issues.
Just a couple of housekeeping things, that's all I have. So, are you at any time planning on merging with the first floor church? I mean, I don't know that church, so I don't know if there's.
No.
Okay. Secondly, are there going to be any other types of activities going on outside of the 2 services, like daycare or anything? Are you looking for any of that type of thing?
No, not really, no.
Okay. And so you're just moving into a larger space?
That's correct.
Okay. And you're not going to be using the Main Street church anymore?
No, I have to move from that building.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right, those are my questions. If there's anything else, I have to open it up to the public. Anyone in the public like to speak for or against this application? Anyone? Seeing none? Ms. Secretary, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to,
Oh, yes.
motion to close public hearing?
Thank you.
Second.
It's been a whole month. Roll call, please.
Yes. Excuse me, Linda DeGray,
4.
Joseph Muley,
4.
Terrence Lynch,
4.
Christian D'Antonio,
4.
Walter Crizel,
4.
and John Petronella is 4.
Okay.
Now,
When you're ready, we have a couple of motions.
so we have some waivers here and so forth, so I'll do the first one. I'd like to make a motion to approve the waiver of Section 120 to eliminate the requirement of a site plan based on the fact that there are no proposed changes to the historical site.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Linda DeGray.
Four.
Joseph Muley.
Four.
Terrence Lynch.
4.
Christian D'Antonio.
4.
Walter Krizel.
4.
And John Petronola is 4. Next motion, I'd like to make a motion to approve on-street parking per section 8.124, note number 6, to allow up to 50% of the off-site parking to be within 500 feet of the site.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Linda DeGray.
4.
Joseph Muley.
4.
Terrence Lynch.
4.
Christian D'Antonio.
4.
Walter Krizel.
4.
And John Petronola is 4. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve for the reduction of on-site parking to be 4 per section 8.124, note number 7, based on a historical non-conforming nature of this site and available off-site parking lots and street parking within 500 feet of the property.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Linda DeGray.
4.
Joseph Muley.
4.
Terrence Lynch.
4.
Christian D'Antonio.
4.
Walter Krizel.
4.
And John Petronola is 4. Okay, now I'd like to make a motion to approve the application to allow a change of use for a place of worship on the second floor. David Arce, applicant, E&D Stovall LLC owners, map 24, lot 79, TD zone.
Second.
Okay, any comments, concerns, discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Linda DeGray.
4.
Joseph Muley.
4.
Terrence Lynch.
4.
Christian D'Antonio.
4.
Walter Krizel.
4.
And John Petronola is 4.
Okay,
Congratulations.
congratulations, you're all set.
Say a prayer for all of us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
At the very last sheet of this application, I did ask for a request for a reduction in fees for this applicant.
Oh.
So they came in as a special
Where is
use
that now?
permit, but the special use
that's
permit
right.
does run with the
Remember reading
land. In retrospect, since the special permit does run with the land, there should have been a site plan review as a modification of the public hearing special
there's
use
another
permit.
motion, yeah.
So per Article 4 of the Land Use Application Fees, Section 66-92, you have the ability to modify the application fees. So I was just going to request that the fee be lowered by $110. So instead of the $330, it would be $100 plus the $10 for the public hearing sign. So he would be refunded $110.
Okay.
We try to avoid this, but sometimes it happens.
Okay. Any comments?
There's a motion written.
Bill, need a motion,
Yeah,
so
okay.
I don't know.
All right,
we have to make the motion and then discuss
no.
it.
No comments, okay. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to reduce the application fee for public hearing number 3131 by $110 per ART 4, Section 66-92, as the previous application for a church public hearing number 3012 has been paid in full and minimal additional staff time was involved in the review.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on this? No? Okay, roll call, please.
Linda DeGray,
4.
Joseph Muley,
4.
Terrence Lynch,
4.
Christian D'Antonio,
4.
Walter Krizel,
4.
and John Petronola is 4.
Definitely say a prayer for us.
Okay, all right,
you for that.
moving on. When you're ready, Mr. Secretary. Yep, we're going on to new business. SPR
New
1957.
business. Yes. SPR number 1957, 11 Pearl Street, application for a site plan review for the establishment of a wireless telecommunications facility Kenneth Baldwin, applicant, Patrick and Jeanette Talarita, owners, map 24, lot 65, TD5 zone.
Welcome. Name and address, please.
Sure. My name's Ken Baldwin. I'm an attorney with Robinson & Cole, 1 State Street in Hartford, Connecticut, 06103.
Oh, is the light on the microphone in front of you? Yeah, thank you.
I've never been accused of being soft-spoken, so there you go. That's the first time for everything. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Again, Ken Baldwin with Robinson & Cole on behalf of Verizon Wireless in this site plan application for a telecommunications facility at 11 Pearl Street in Thompsonville. As I'm sure you're all aware, and I'll see if I can control this. How do I go back? There we go. This is the old Thompsonville Fire Department building that is in private ownership. Verizon Wireless has signed a lease agreement with the property owner to establish a telecommunications facility. Talk about adaptive reuse. A way to establish a telecommunications facility, improve wireless service in the Thompsonville area without the need for a new tower. Certainly not a location where such a tower would be appropriate, in my view. So what Verizon Wireless, frankly, is able to do is utilize the existing hose tower structure, install antennas behind these louvered sections at the top. Those louvers would be replaced with RF transparent material so that the antenna emissions can go through the structure so there's no attenuation of the signal. And then provide, again, improved wireless service throughout the Thompsonville area, and at the same time provide additional capacity to its surrounding sites here in Enfield. Here's another view of the tower. As you know, on the north side of the old fire department building, the equipment, well, let me get to the plan first. The equipment associated with the antennas would be located behind the tower structure. We would build a small steel platform upon which Verizon would install an equipment cabinet and a battery cabinet. Those cabinets would be connected up the back side of the tower portion of the building inside a cable tray, so they'd be attached to the building but behind a steel cable tray so that they'd be screened. The cable tray would be painted to match the color of the building. They would then go inside the tower and connect to the antennas themselves. Their antennas are located, again, behind the louvered sections at the 51-foot level and the 47-foot level in the structure itself. In addition to the equipment platform and the equipment cabinets, Verizon would install a backup generator located on the side of the building in order to provide backup power to the facility if commercial power is otherwise interrupted. These generators are typically don't operate very often because thankfully we don't have to worry about power loss, but when we do, they operate long enough to keep the facility operating until commercial power is reintroduced to the area or the building. The facility, I would respectfully submit, complies with your wireless telecommunications regulations. They are geared primarily toward tower structures, but since this isn't a tower structure, it's a little bit easier to review in my view. This is your #1 location preference for telecommunications facility, the adaptive reuse of existing structures, towers, or in this case, buildings. We have received authorization from Steve Hinley for agent's approval of a wetland permit, and we look forward to providing the new service in the town for the Thompsonville area. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Anyone have any questions at this time? I do. Of course I do. You said there's a battery. What size is this battery, and is it going to be enclosed inside this tower, or is it outside?
The battery, there are 2 cabinets in the rear portion, and they're about the size of, each about the size of a refrigerator, small refrigerator.
Okay.
And one holds the equipment, which is the radio transmit equipment that connects to the antennas and then connects back to the switching office. And the other cabinet is just a battery cabinet, a small battery cabinet. So if the generator wasn't here, the battery cabinet could provide backup power to the facility for up to 8 hours.
So it's like a battery storage.
It's a large battery that could be used. Otherwise, it sits dormant at the site.
Okay.
And to the extent it needs to be recharged, it's typically recharged from the commercial power that feeds the facility. Absent commercial power being disrupted to the facility, the battery cabinet is just redundancy.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Staff?
Good evening, everybody. The applicant's representative did a pretty good job summarizing what the application is about, so I'm just going to skip those details since they're already stated on the record. I'm going to go into the parcel history. So as stated, this is an application for a site plan review at 11 Pearl Street in Thompsonville. This was a structure originally built in 1939 to house the Thompsonville Fire Department. The fire department sold the building in 2016. So there are some historical approvals here, one being from 2021, PH number 3009. This was an application that allowed the reuse of the former Thompsonville Fire Department building as a mixed-use residential and commercial beer wine tap room with outdoor seating. There were site-specific conditions of this approval, which included an Airbnb on the second floor, the wine and tap room may be open all year, and that the third bay may be dedicated to the tap room use. This approval is still in effect and expires on June 10th, 2026. There was a ZBA approval back in 2021 on April 26, where the ZBA granted a variance which allowed for the deck to encroach 2 feet from the rear property line, where originally a 10-foot rear yard setback is required per section 8.121. I do want to clarify the PH 3009 approval for the term of Airbnb. As we are all aware, the zoning regulations do not actually identify the term Airbnb, let alone short-term rentals in any case. However, on June 10th, 2021, the commission had discussed the Airbnb on the second floor. The Airbnb is a terminology mix-up from the applicant from when they originally did their floor plans. In the zoning regs, it's actually a room rental terminology use. It is allowed per 8.122.1 under footnote 7, which grants room rentals as an accessory use as long as the owner resides at the property, which they do, and that section 4.30.5, which refers to room rentals, is satisfied, where rooms cannot be rented to more than 2 guests, which is also satisfied. The terminology was never revised on the floor plans, and there was no condition that specifically required him to change that terminology on the final plan. So instead, there was a condition that was included in PH 3009 under number 8 that the additional bedroom may be rented. The final plans were signed off by staff and the planning and zoning secretary at that time, and the special use permit has been filed on the land records in the appropriate time frame. Other than that, the applicant's approval for the wireless telecommunications facility does satisfy the zoning regs for section 8.20. We did have an ART with the client a couple months ago about this proposal, where we offered general guidance and some feedback to fix a few things. All departmental comments have been complete and satisfied. They came in after the publication of my staff report on September 2nd. The building department had asked a question about clarifying the generator clearance for building code. That review and question had been satisfied by the applicant's representative. Engineering completed their review, stating no change to impervious area. All work is within the fenced area. Fire department had no concerns for planning and zoning. When I was reviewing the application, the original application form had the wrong ownership address on it. The application has been revised to include the correct ownership address at 11 Pearl Street, not 1400 Enfield Street. And I did get deep clarification from the applicant's representative for the site remediation and how that had been completed. Every other concern has been satisfied, and I leave it to the commission.
Any questions? Joe?
Just curiosity, the generator, what fuel is that using?
It's diesel.
Diesel, okay. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's natural gas.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, would it make more sense to hook up to the?
My mistake, my mistake.
Okay. Thank you.
Had another hearing today with a diesel generator. My apologies.
Okay. Terrence? Any question? Christian?
I just wanted to ask about the screening of the generator from the plans, just to clarify, right? I believe the plans just specify it'll keeping the chain link fence, but just covering that chain link fence with black vinyl.
Yeah, there was discussion.
And is that going to be on all sides?
Yes, I think the plan was to put it on all sides to screen the generator and to the extent you could see around the corner, the equipment itself.
Thanks.
And Walter?
What's the range that this will cover?
At this height, we're probably talking about anywhere between a quarter and a half mile. Depends on topography, other buildings in the area.
So St. Pat's Church will get coverage?
Yeah, I think it would probably get that far.
I get boring homilies, I can go on the internet.
That's the goal.
Anyone else? It's not what you're supposed to be doing in church.
It's an option.
I'm just throwing it out there.
The readings are in there sometimes.
Okay. Any other? And, okay, this is a site plan, so I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve SPR number 1957, 11 Pearl Street, application for a site plan review for the establishment of a wireless telecommunications facility. Kenneth Baldwin, applicant, Patrick and Jeanette Talarita, owners, map 24,
Second.
lot 65, TD5 zone.
And we've got a second.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Yes, Linda DeGray,
4.
Joseph Muley,
4.
Terrence Lynch,
4.
Christian D'Antonio.
4.
Walter Krizel.
4.
And John Petronella is 4.
Thank you, and thank you for the innovation of not having these big towers sticking out of the top of that tower, so. Thank you. Okay. All right. When you're ready, sir.
Yeah. SPR number 1958-54 Hazard Avenue, application for a site plan modification.
Excuse me. The meeting is still going on. Thank you.
Excuse me, SPR number 1958-54 Hazard Avenue, application for a site plan modification for PH number 2532 to allow a detached independent sustainable bottle redemption container within the existing parking lot of the Stop and Shop Plaza. Polly Johnson, applicant, Enfield Station LLC owner, map 56, lot 26, BR zone.
Okay, welcome. Tell us what you're here for.
Good evening, Commissioner members. My name is Dan Kiley. I'm Chief of Staff for Clink, 100 Waterman Drive, South Portland, Maine, 04106. I'm here tonight representing both Clink and Stop and Shop for the parcel over here in Enfield to place a secondary location in the parking lot out towards the existing Stop and Shop gas pumps for a redemption center that allows for what we call bag drop utilization of redeeming bottles and cans. I'm not sure how many of you currently redeem your bottles and cans, maybe used to using a redemption center or a reverse vending machine where you feed containers in manually. We are bringing a new modality to the state of Connecticut and with Stop and Shop, and which is called bag drop. Clink has been operating for 20 years in Maine with Hannaford Grocery, 10 years in the state of New York with them as well. And we've recently come to Connecticut working with Stop and Shop, who are both under the same parent company of Ahold Delhaize. The way the Clink program works is it allows consumers to set up individualized accounts, place all their redeemable containers into a Clink bag, which is purchased through the store. They're dropped off into the sustainability station, and they're picked up daily, taken back to our processing facility in Bristol, where the containers are counted, funds are redeemed to consumer accounts, and then consumers can refund their deposits in store at their convenience. What we're asking for here is the ability to place a station in that parking lot. I believe there was a deck sent, I'm not sure from staff, the deck that was sent originally, did that go to staff?
I mean your digitals?
Yeah.
So we don't forward anything unless you
Okay.
expressly email us that you want it on the board.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No
Can I-
worries. Yeah,
do we hand
yeah,
out?
you can pass them to staff and we'll pass them out.
I'll pass them out.
There should be one in there first. Okay.
I do just want to say everything that you submit to us, the commission does receive.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thanks.
And I'm somewhat familiar being from Kennebuck, Maine myself, and on the Planning and Zoning Commission there as well, so I know the effort it takes to go through this every week or every other week. So unlike yourselves, though, we never had an August break.
We like that.
That's a nice thing.
It's a very nice
Yep.
thing.
So in this packet is a little bit of information about Clink, how Clink works, but really what I wanted to bring your attention to, and I think what your concerns are, again, kind of sitting on that side of the table as well, is what are the impacts to the surrounding area, what are the impacts to the parcel itself, and what are the impacts to the consumers. So as you go through the packet here, there's a little bit of information about Clink, where we are, where bottle redemption is, primarily the Northeast, but certainly across country. A little bit about how Clink works, but if I can bring your attention to slide 4, or page 4, it's addressing what I call common questions. And these are the things that I think that are from the commission will come up as, the common questions around bottle redemption and what would be the issues surrounding a facility like this. First of all, our sustainability stations are purpose-built. They're not, as you expect to see with some of the clothing drop-offs and other things like that, where trash and other things circulate around that. Our consumers bring their redeemables in a bag already. They're dropped off. Nothing's generally left around the outside of the facility. Equipment reliability is much better. If you do use reverse vending machines, there's a lot of downtime with those. Because we don't have a lot of the same moving parts, it's simply a door that opens that you drop your containers in. That is minimized from a consumer standpoint. There are no lines with our systems. There's no issues with trash, debris around the station, rodents, insects, those types of things that are normally associated with bottle rooms. Additionally, our stations are monitored with CCTV on the inside and the exterior, so we can look at volume, we can look at security and safety within the area. Our typical customer takes about 15 seconds to drop off products, so traffic and traffic impacts are minimal. The location is placed to the far western part of the parking lot, so it's outside of the normal traffic flow. Again, our stations are picked up on a daily or almost every other day basis based on volume, so the chances of overflowing, things like that, are minimal. From a visibility standpoint and traffic, generally our consumers drop their bags when they do their grocery shops, so it's not additional traffic trips generated out of this. It's part of their normal shopping excursion. And because the station is approximately 8 feet in height, it does have solar and wind turbines on the roof because it is a sustainable building. It is not shore powered. It's fully powered through solar and wind generation. Also, it's made out of recycled plastic into a foam composite that is skinned with a rigid fiberglass on the exterior and interior. The station typically blends in with the surrounding parking lot. At 8 feet, cars, landscape makes the station somewhat disappear. With minimal branding and signage, just really to clarify what the purpose of the facility is. And lastly, our stations are dark sky compliant, so at nighttime, all the lighting is shielded and downlit with low voltage lighting. We generally use the ambient lighting from the parking lot itself. The hours of operation are that of the store. And then from a trash and maintenance standpoint, our drivers, the Stop and Shop associates, as well as contractors for no plow and removal, take care of all that and ensure a safe consumer experience. So that's kind of just a general overview of what we're looking at. Let's kind of pause here and open for some questions.
I do, but Walter? Joe? Terrence?
No, go ahead for no.
Christian?
As far as operations from your well, two questions. One from your customers. I see a picture of here. It seems like, especially because the trip is so quick, it seems like the most common way is they just pull up right next to it, drop their bags, and then like they're not actually even parking. Really.
Many times they do park.
They do park.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It depends on the placement of the station. Again, this one is going to be on the western side of the lot, past the gas pumps. So, I typically probably see them pulling into the spaces on either side of that. But it is a very short trip, and we generally try to find these in out-of-the-way locations that are not in truck routes or high turning areas, those types of things. We want to keep the consumer safe.
And the second question was on the pickup side. What kind of?
It's a 28-foot box truck.
That's a box truck.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's generally during the hours of operation, so no overnight pickups, no additional noise, because there are, obviously other business and things around there, but we try to be minimal and a good steward of the community.
Makes sense. And they have it in their job to clean up the area around it in case there's any.
Yep.
any
All the trucks
leftovers.
have a dust broom and shovel to take care of anything around the area. And again, the Stop and Shop associates are responsible for that area as well. And then during the winter season, the snowplow contractors take care of snow and ice removal.
And I see bollards in some pictures, but not all. Are there plans for bollards?
Again, local requirement, we typically put a bollard in. This will require the use of 5 parking spaces. The overall length of this building will be 32 feet. So when you look at a typical 9-foot wide parking stall that is 18 feet deep, we generally go about 2 feet off the curb to the rear. 8 feet gives us 10, and then 6 to 8 feet to the front of the parking stalls. We'll place bollards in the center of the stalls that are taken up so that people just don't drive in there, by any means. But if the town requires it, we will put them in. If not, we typically still do anyway as a measure of safety.
Oh, thanks for that.
John?
Yeah, question. You mentioned you generally like these in out-of-way locations. To me, a nice out-of-the-way location is in the rear in the southeast corner. Was there any consideration to putting them out there?
The rear southeast corner. So ideally what we try to do is, one, in environments where we're with the Stop and Shop, the rear southeast corner of this parcel would put us behind other retail tenants. Okay? If I'm looking at this correctly. And that's on this slide here, if you're.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you mean those parking stalls. The building is kind of an L shape,
Yeah.
right? So you're talking about the spaces to the.
In the rear of the buildings.
Yeah.
Yep.
So ideally, we'd also like to try to place it wherever the existing redemption room was, so there's a familiarity to consumers, and have it out towards the front of the building so there's visibility from the consumer standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, aside from this temporary structures not being, this not being in conformance with the zoning regulations, as far as temporary structures are concerned. I mean, I look at this as it's a four-sided billboard. Your locations that you're proposing, you want to put them right out on the road. I don't know. I'm just having a hard time trying to get my hands around this as far as I mean, location-wise and really what it is.
So from any kind of communication, the rear and the two end sides are painted. No messaging, no communications on that. It's only the front side, which is again about how the system works. Minimal brand recognition in terms of names or ourselves or Stop and Shop. And then in this facility, the rear would actually be against or going up against the landscaping that is existing in that area as well. So we do try to buffer wherever we can.
Okay. That's all I had.
Terrence?
Yeah, you keep talking about the one location by the gas pumps, but when I'm reading a package that we get, the second location is at the top northern corner.
A secondary location, not a second location, but a alternative.
It says the second location.
Okay.
So there's only one location.
Only one location, I'm sorry, that should have been an alternative location.
Thank you.
The landlord has asked for us to be in this as their primary
Right.
location.
Thank you.
And I think some of that has to do with future development that's going to go on this parcel as well.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Walter.
So you have to purchase special bags and then fill the bag up. What is the bag, like barcoded or something?
No, so the way the process works is inside the store is what we call a kiosk, where you print off an individualized account code. You stick that on your bag. When you go to the station, you utilize a mobile app or a physical card that says, okay, Walter is here. You scan your bag, and now we know this is your bag. Once it goes into the station, once it gets processed, we scan that again, and we associate all those containers with your account. Okay? The bags themselves, they are 15 bags to a box. They're $2.19. We sell them through Stop and Shop at cost because we don't want to burden consumers with this. An average household that lasts about 6 months. 14 cents a bag. It's cheaper than buying a Glad bag for your home trash. They're 13 gallons. They're made out of recycled material, and these bags get recycled again. So we're trying to keep things out of the landfills and out of the waste streams.
Thank you.
Bill Sut? Because I got a couple of questions. Sure. I'm looking at this picture that you gave us of people going. Is there like to open the door? You have to scan a barcode to open the door?
Yep. You scan a barcode. We either have a mobile app that you can utilize, or we can give you a physical card or a keychain fob.
So somebody can't just go up and open the door and reach in and grab a bag.
Correct. You are an account holder with us. We do have some additional safety features in addition to the CCTV on the exterior and interior in areas that we would experience maybe potentially high crime or other things. Wouldn't say necessarily Enfield, but Hartford as an example, or New Haven or Bridgeport. We have called security fingers, so it's kind of like a subway turnstile. Bags can go in, but they can't come back out. And so we do try to have safety measures that way. Part of the ability of having customers scan their account, scan their bag, identifies that you've dropped one. So if a bag goes missing, we will then go ahead and credit the consumer for their average bags. So we try to do everything we can to ensure fraud measures and the consumer is protected the best way we can.
And you have read our regulations that we do not allow long-term containers, and this is, to me, a container. And to put a container in that parking lot is very busy. It's and you're saying, oh, by the gas station. The gas station is right up against, well, in technical term, along a very busy road. So this thing would be right out in front, in the middle of this parking lot. I, too, have a hard time because we don't allow this type of container. And to take up spaces in our regulations, we don't allow that. And I'm just wondering if you had read our regulations prior to this application.
And that's why we're asking for a special exception, I believe, in the permit. Doesn't show there? Oh, okay.
Okay. So I'm just going to let staff talk.
Sure.
No. So go ahead.
Okay, so this is for an 8 by 32 foot container to be used as a smaller can and bottle redemption facility. So the applicant went over the location and the site pretty well, so I'm going to skip the basics. When they first inquired with us, some of the location ideas that staff had were the southeast corner, but maybe also the southwest corner, get it out of that high traffic-y part of the plaza, especially with the lack of internal stop signs by the gas station. But the applicant has two proposals for locations. Their primary location wanting to be by the fuel station, and then an alternative second location to the northeast corner of the property. So staff wasn't exactly sure how this really fit into the zoning regs. Granby did do a site plan modification to their Stop and Shop to allow Clink to have a storage container in the parking lot. With us, we have 3.30.7 for accessory buildings, which talks about temporary storage containers to be permitted only in accordance with section 3.30.14. But then when you read that section, we define long-term storage as more than 30 days, where storage containers and trailers are mostly only permitted in I-1 and I-2 zones subject to specific conditions. So our zoning regs don't really identify this type of long-term storage container, though it does have a lot of benefits. The only other thing we could find was 9.10.7 for site plan modifications. Departmental comments have been completed and no initial red flags or concerns with the project. The only thing that we really couldn't find was a way to fit it into the zoning regs besides classifying it as an accessible use or accessory structure, but then the problem is long-term storage. We also, this would need a sign permit as well for all the lettering on the front of the container, which from a quick glance looks like it might exceed the allowance per the sign permit requirements, but I don't want to go into that route until we get an actual sign permit application to be able to verify that. But the most important part was that we couldn't find a way to make it fit into the zoning regs as it stands now. The applicant mentioned a special exception, which I did not see within their application documents.
That we don't offer special
Well, as I say, maybe
exceptions.
not, I was thinking the modification, or.
That would be a text amendment.
Okay.
So I know you're probably not from here, so.
No.
And not only every town, but every state is different.
Every state is different, every town in that state are different.
I just wanted to comment. I love your idea. I love the concept of this. I'm all for recycling and all of this. I was actually up in Maine at Thomaston Dog Park recently, and they use a Clink system as well. And I saw one of these, and so I like it as far as my personal
Sure.
things. But from the standpoint of our job, making sure that things are permitted through our zoning regulations, this just does not fit, unfortunately. I mean, we denied a container in an industrial zone for a car park, auto place. We have containers right literally behind Stop and Shop that there was concerns about, and those are for rental of containers. Just the storage of it concerns the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Sure.
So, I do have concerns about the signage as well, just because, I mean, this looks like it would be more signage than Stop and Shop has on their building. So that is.
Understood.
That's.
And again, we're willing to work with
Yeah.
every municipality that we're working, we're going in front of. We
I mean,
understand that.
the best thing I could say is that we are in the middle of, we are towards the end of redoing our zoning regulations cover to cover. I don't know whether or not the commission might consider having a discussion on whether or not something like this is something we'd like to add in. But they haven't made any decision yet, but I just wanted to just comment.
I agree. The idea is kind of a unique and innovative idea, but it starts to set precedents. Once you put one container in a parking lot and allow it, you're going to get them in every parking lot. And we have 3 large supermarkets plus and car washes. So there's some ramifications, but that's just me. I'm just
Absolutely
voicing my
understand.
concern.
Yep, that's your role too.
So, all right, anything else? Any other questions? Joe, you look like you have
I
something.
mean, where do we stand? I mean,
I don't know. That would be a vote on it.
I mean, I think it's a great thing for the public. I mean, that's part of our thing, but I mean,
We need a
how do
motion
we?
Yeah.
to,
Well, if I may.
Yes.
Comment, the applicant, and as an option, can withdraw without prejudice.
Yes.
And possibly come back with something different, or if we vote on it, I don't know where it's going to go. I'm not telling you how we're going to vote on it.
Sure, absolutely.
But I'm just,
Yep.
putting that out there. I don't know if that's a viable option, or if that's, I'd like maybe staff
You're
to-
asking if you could have a motion to deny without prejudice? Is that what your question was?
If the applicant would withdraw.
Oh,
if-
the applicant could withdraw without prejudice as
Right.
well?
Right.
Yep,
As an option, he can do that, or.
yep, either or. I mean, depending on the outcome of the decision, there's possibilities of a text amendment or conversation, sorry about that,
Yeah.
amongst the Planning and Zoning Commission with the reworking of the zoning regulations. But that's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen soon, but not overnight.
and, yes. go
Question for staff. Is there any way we can make it work as an accessory building? Because I was just double checking what we have as a definition of a building. This is anything
If
over
we don't
8
allow containers, we don't allow containers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
There's kind of
if it wants to be a building, it could be a stick structure or something like that. But I understand the
that's
whole
odd.
idea of,
but if
simplicity
it's over 8
and
feet,
cost.
yeah. I mean, in our definition, it does say anything over 8 feet, even if it's a fence, counts as a building. So I don't know if that.
On
It's still
definition of building,
Yeah.
it's 8 feet in height.
And I think on your documentation you say it's over a little over 8.
Slightly over 8 feet in height, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's like storing bags
It would still
What
get
is it?
classified as a storage container.
because
Wouldn't
there's
need a
no
building permit.
because there's no.
The only
like,
way
occupant,
around
like,
it
yeah.
would be if they put the container inside the building, which I know Clink doesn't want to do that, or they would have to submit for a text amendment, or the only other option is to have discussions at the public hearing when we do the new zoning regulation document.
Appreciate staff for trying to. This is
We
definitely.
explored every
Yeah, exploring
opportunity
it,
we
yeah.
could explore. It was all three of us sitting down together to try and figure out how to make this work. It's such a great proposal. It really is good for the community, especially the environment in terms of bottles and cans and sticky floors, as the narrative says. But our zoning regs, we're working on them, and there are some modern uses like this that we should really maybe think about in the future. But for right now, I mean, of course, it's your decision at the end of the day, but staff just couldn't make it fit in the existing zoning wording.
I hope going forward maybe we can kind of keep that in the back of our minds with our regulations to not stifle innovation in terms of structures and uses. So. Yeah, but yeah, no, I appreciate staff and
So
appreciate your
the
time.
applicant could withdraw, or if you make the motion to approve and the motion fails, it's automatically denied without prejudice. The only time it's denied with prejudice would be if you were to explicitly state with prejudice on the record. I just want to clarify.
Okay. And if I can ask, there are no accessory dwelling unit regulations?
Dwelling units are for residential units.
Okay.
You'd be looking for like accessory structure or storage container in this sense.
And to the point made by staff earlier, every municipality we've gone in front of has treated this different. Bristol, it was a shed, and it was a,
We have 169 municipalities
Yeah.
in Connecticut.
And you have
will probably
169
find a
different regulations.
Different definition for each
Each
in
one.
each one.
169 ways to do something.
I got it. Some are buildings, some are,
Right.
shipping containers or whatever else. So I get it, and that's the hard part of trying to.
So the question, sir, to you is if you want to withdraw, or we can vote in, I don't know how the vote will go.
I mean, to staff's point, if there is a denial with no prejudice, means we can always come back and re-permit at a future date or be part of, as a non-resident of Enfield, are we able to speak as you start to look at new regulations and
So-
ordinances.
Yes, we will be having a public hearing.
Denial without prejudice means you can't apply within the same year.
Same calendar year or?
Same calendar year, but that's with prejudice, which I don't see a reason why the board would do that tonight. If anything, it would be a normal, if anything, a normal denial if they choose to not approve the application, or you could withdraw.
Just so I'm clear, we could not come in front of the committee again
No.
in 2025?
No, only if you get denied with prejudice.
prejudice, okay.
They have to state that on the record.
Gotcha. Okay. At this point, I don't see, I'd love to get the sense of how the committee feels.
Okay. All right. I will entertain a motion, Ms. Secretary, and then have discussion.
I guess, Mike, before you do that, let me ask a question amongst ourselves. If we make a motion to deny,
You'd have,
No.
that's a staff.
No.
No, we can never make a
Motion
motion to
is in the
deny.
affirm.
okay,
It's always in the
Okay.
affirmative. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve SPR number 1958, application for site plan modification of public hearing 2532 to allow a detached, independent, sustainable bottle redemption container within the existing parking lot of the Stop and Shop Plaza. Polly Johnson, applicant, Enfield Station LLC owner, map 56, lot 26, BR zone.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Joe? Walter?
Well, like you said, it opens a can of worms, but maybe that's a can we have to open
In a workshop?
in a workshop.
Christian?
I think it gives us good insight into the inflexibility of our regulations.
I think
it's
ex-
a lesson.
I think all these new innovations are coming that nobody ever saw or had foresight to think about. And, they're great ideas, but right now, our
Yeah,
regulations
and frankly,
don't
with
allow it.
parking lots too, especially with so many of the oversized parking lots in town, whether this plaza or any of them. I mean, where there is excess capacity, if there's a way we could put it to good use, that's great. But again, in our current regulations, that's a different
And
story.
then you're saying, oh, well, we have this excess parking, but these strip malls have multiple stores. So every store decides, so now it then becomes another can of worms, so.
Yeah, I mean, it might be something for us to think about in terms of like if you wanted to utilize the parking spaces for something else, maybe parking study, or show us your utilization. I think that's reasonable.
This
concern.
parking lot is crazy. They go flying through it, and even with the speed tables.
Sure, it's one of the few with speed tables.
Yeah,
so.
so,
yeah,
yes,
I
well,
st-
One more comment. So, and I'm gonna age everybody here. When they put dumpsters out there to recycle phone books,
That was temporary.
That was temporary. So that they didn't have to come for permits or nothing at the time.
it was before, I was
As I
only
say,
an
we're
infant.
aging everybody. That's what I'm saying.
I was only, we
Phone
were
books.
all infants. We were all infants. We weren't around.
Don't forget, your zoning regs, totally different. They
Right.
changed a lot since
Right.
1925.
I'm not saying 1925. Come on.
25, wow.
Maybe 26,
Just
but not
in general,
25.
zoning came in the 20s, so since then you've had many, many, many editions of your
I
regs.
did put a phone book in there in the 80s, okay,
I mean,
and the 90s, but
To me, the closest thing that we do allow is the actual garbage dumpster. But that is literally for garbage.
Right, and it's
you kinda-
screened.
Yeah, so.
In the back.
We thought
Tenants.
about compatible uses, but we couldn't find
Right.
what that would be.
Right. Terrence, you had something?
Yeah, I think Walter's right. And I think this is a good idea for everybody. However, our regulation doesn't allow us to do it. So therefore, we're going to have to, with staff, look at the regulation, see how we can put it together. So, and as you said, Madam Chairman, the new things are coming all the time. And how do we fix them? And how do we make our regulations a little more flexible
Right.
for these things? But I don't think that can happen tonight.
No. I think that's part of our workshops.
Madam Chair, can I just ask staff a question? Just if you remember, or if any of you remember, what use does a standalone recycling facility, bottled deposit
So
facility
those
come under?
typically fall in the industrial zones. We classify them as similar and compatible uses to the specific use of, stand by please, manufacturing, fabricating, processing, assembling, cleaning, servicing, testing, or repairing of materials, which ironically enough, the town of Windsor asked us today how we do bottle redemption facilities in our zoning regs. But that's how like for Niblick Road got approved.
And that's an attendant space.
Yeah, and this is the first one that we've had as a standalone recycling station in a BR zone. So
Yeah. It's
we're a
new-
little
yeah, it's new.
stuck.
Can I just make 2 comments before the vote?
Sure.
You know, I think that's the recycling component is something, you know, if this is akin to a recycling dumpster, I don't know. Similar use. And I guess the other question I'd have is, as I was driving in tonight, the Mexican food truck that is in the parking lot here,
Food truck.
is it a food truck?
And we have
That's
That's a
regular-
separate regulation in terms of structure and
Permitted
use.
yes.
Okay. Because looking for everything we can.
I understand. We hear you.
You know, because we are what I would consider because this is a mobile structure and that it can be, our drop-off and installation is less than an hour, and removal can be within a short period of time as well. Could be classified as a mobile unit. So, just additional.
All right. Roll call, please.
Excuse me, Linda DeGray,
Against, because it doesn't fit our regulations this time.
Joseph Muley,
Against without prejudice.
Terrence Lynch,
Against.
Christian D'Antonio,
Against, because it does not fit in our current regulations.
Walter Cruzel,
Against, but stay tuned.
Yes.
and John Petronella. I'm against and cite that it doesn't conform to our temporary structures per 3.30.14 of our zoning regulations.
Sir, love your idea, love the concept, and give us some time.
We're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, good. I mean, it makes sense, so you've got this bag, you got all your bottles in it, and you just drop it, and,
Yep.
but.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and
Thanks for coming.
thanks for coming.
Have a good
Keep up
evening.
with these great ideas.
Yep.
Okay, yes, thank you. Commissioners' correspondence, anybody? Christian? Anything from, oh, you were on vacation for a month, never mind.
The Regional Planning Commission did meet last week. A presentation, there was a lawyer there, presented on some past regulations, updates to the law. But as well as he spent a lot of time talking about the bill that had got vetoed. So, but there is a special session going on, but we just have to wait and see on that one.
All right, that one, okay. Anybody else? No? All right, Director of Planning report.
Well, again, hi again.
Hi.
So I've got a couple things. We sent out this Let's Talk Housing flyer to you.
Yes.
This is about, the Capital Region Council of Governments, more commonly referred to as CRUG, is for performing a regional housing strategy for our region. Talking about critical housing issue facing our regions, cities and towns. These are two different workshop dates, but they are the same discussion. So you can go to either one of them. I just wanted to relay also that as part of the study, they decided to choose 3 different towns to do a specific actual housing study. And we are one of the 3 towns. It was Enfield, Berlin, and Canton, I believe. So they have decided to do the housing study based on the D. Pratt, or the square of development at Pearl and Asnuntuck. So here's Asnuntuck. I know you can't probably see this, but here's Asnuntuck, here's Pearl Street. So it's basically where the municipal parking lot is, and Troiano's building up on Pearl Street that's kind of abandoned, and then there's a church and something else in the back. So this has got 5 pages of proposed development plans. So they could actually take those and actually try to implement them and try to figure it out. So that's kind of fun. So that's good news. Let's see. Phasing request. Oh, we never did our phasing request.
We have, that's an administrative.
Oh, is that
approval.
next?
Yeah,
Oh, I've got
that's
this in
next.
the wrong order.
So, it's okay, it's okay. Nope, you're fine.
So, okay, so Christian sent us a great list yesterday, I think, or today, I can't remember anymore. But it's a great list. It's very similar to what we have been creating. I've got a list of about 40 items that we will probably need to do workshops on. Some of them are like quick yes or no. Others are like ADUs and access management and clarifying
Now,
duplex
this new
Requirements.
Recycling thing, that just,
Recycling containers. Actually, staff is going to start meeting every Friday, just internally, and we're getting down into the weeds of doing everything. But I think what we'll probably in a couple of weeks, we'll start doing some workshops. So probably before the next meeting, we'll try to set up some workshop dates again, so we can get some of these things clarified and quantified. Outdoor dining, we haven't done anything since COVID. So, and we kind of allowed all this stuff. So, they're not big items for the most part. I think ADUs is going to be one of our biggest issues, not issues, but we're going to have to provide for ADUs, whether we like it or not. I think it's coming.
I think,
And I think it's a good idea, personally. I
I
think
have concerns on a lot of things. So I think that would be better to discuss in a workshop
right, yeah.
than
So, yeah,
here,
so
so.
like I said, we're working on the list. We're working against, like, we are looking, like, word by word in the regulations, making sure sections are following the sections and the definitions are correct and things like that. So we've been working on it, but right now, Don and staff are kind of working together. And so for the next meeting, I will have a better report for you because I kind of wanted to push this all together for us. So
Okay, because we've been on vacation and we're still in vacation mode.
I just got back from my one vacation.
Okay. And I'm going on Saturday, so
Ah,
I'm on
that's right. You
vacation
said you're
mode.
going. Oh, that's right.
yeah.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I just wanted to report to you on the record, so people hear this, is there is a scam alert. And basically, every time we post any application on our website, these people are sending them notices saying that They owe the town of Enfield like $7,000 for their post-approval process. This is happening nationwide, but it is happening here, and it's happening more and more. So I just want you to be aware of it. We're probably going to start maybe repeating this during the meetings, and I think we'll probably put a little flyer in with their notices of approval and things of
Yeah.
that nature. We've got it on our websites, but I mean,
Unbelievable.
it's getting bad because, I mean, people, so what is a good thing is that people are calling us saying, is this really from you? And it's like, no, it is not.
Because it's
So-
thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
It's thousands and thousands of dollars.
But if you read the scam, there's the email domain is incorrect. It's a USA.com domain, which is a typical known scam email domain on the Consumer Protection website. And they take the info, it's an automatic system doing it. So they take the information from OpenGov, which is the online permitting software. So every applicant you heard tonight got this scam email, and I already got the applicants being received. They also received the scam email. So it's once we set the information to public is when they seem to take the information from our staff report, the applicant, and they spell Lori's name wrong, and they steal the town seal, and
Yeah. So, you know, what we might be doing is attaching this to the applications as well. I
We've-
think that's probably the first spot we want to do.
we've also notified OpenGov to see if there's anything they can do on their end to prevent security with bots or however it is that they're using the information to get it. So-
It just amazes me that, first off, they get your phone number, they get all of this information, which is out there on the web, and then they try to get money out of you.
Just be careful when you just read it carefully. Don't open any suspicious links or attachments. And if you read it, the email is the first flag.
Yep.
Yeah. We don't have post-approval fees.
It's an application fee.
So.
Okay, let's go to administrative, yes.
One question. So back to the CROG thing. Was it CROG that did the study about the roads around the mall?
Yes.
So is there any update from them on when they're going to do the new traffic lights on Hazard Ave? Or am I asking the wrong person?
So I'm still inquiring what exactly happened with that study because it
but
appears that the
but
DOT was unfamiliar
I
with
see
it.
they put all the switchgear boxes in, but now they're going to come in and put the however they're going to put the lights, and that's been almost a year now that they. But they literally, if you go there, every intersection has two switchgears, has the old one and the new one. But it's very strange.
I could reach out to the state and
Yeah,
see what's
just
happening
curious,
because I
that's
couldn't
all.
tell you what a switchgear looks like, so I
The
wouldn't have
big
noticed
box,
that.
the big box, like in front of the jug shop there, or they got a new one. What is that liquor store there on the corner of Palumba? I don't even know, but there's that package store on the corner.
Jug shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a brand new big box right in front of his store, and the old box is across the street. So, and it's been there almost a year now. So,
So update of
and
lights.
they did that like in front of McDonald's. There's one in front of Verizon. There's one, and
I can't
they're all
explain
wrong.
what the state does.
Yeah.
It's typical. They don't know.
We'll try to find out.
I can't use the words I want to use, but you know what I
There you
mean.
go.
Oh, there is one more thing. Dairy Queen. I see that they put up a fence around their concrete pad, but they still have seating there, which we told them they couldn't have, and they have not moved
They
it.
were still working on that like
Yeah,
a month ago.
nothing's changed yet. They're still trying to get their bonds in, but it's not like a permanent thing from what I understand, but I can always reach out again.
Yeah, we told them no seating in that area.
It's not going to stay that way. They have their
Shouldn't even
final
be
plans.
that way
right.
now, so.
They're just doing things a little bit differently.
Yeah, well,
So we're,
okay.
yeah.
That was it, so, okay. Administrative approval.
Okay, so the administrative approval is actually also from Rick, but basically they were starting their project, the new housing. As a matter of fact, I believe they had their groundbreaking this afternoon.
Yes, they did.
So, so they decided that, well, we realized that they really needed to have a phasing plan so they could bond separately and actually just do the proper phasing rather than just, as they call it, implementation plan. So that's really all of this is. It's 2 phases. And we just, rather than come back in administrative approval, I thought it was reasonable to do so.
Okay.
I'm sorry, they called it a sequencing plan.
Well,
Terminology.
okay, so
Terminology.
all of in favor of phasing in or sequencing in the Housing Authority Enfield Manor? Raise your hand. Okay, we're all in favor of that.
All in favor, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, that's good.
I don't know why it takes them to start the project to figure that one out.
I know, and he's been in here a couple of times with that, so.
I think, as Georgie says, once again, it's a terminology issue. They felt that what they were saying as sequencing was phasing. So they felt that that was already approved, but
Which a lot of developers, when they come in for ARTs, all refer to phasing as sequencing. So we've been trying to catch them as they come in, like to clarify, is it a sequence of construction events or actual phasing of the development? So terminology.
Okay. All right, and then we got our schedule for next year.
please review that. Let me know if there's any issues or if you don't agree with some of the changes. So Donna put underneath the changes why we changed it. Like, for instance, I think in November, I'm sorry, I don't have
Yeah.
it in front of me, but
It's
so you could go
Thanksgiving.
to the Connecticut Federation of Planning and Zoning Officials dinner. We just basically changed the PCC night to one night before, and then you could go to your meeting,
That would be fun.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, so please review it. I mean, we don't have to have this finalized until like early December, so,
All
I
right.
mean, there's no rush, but we figured we'd get on it now because we were a little slow in the summer, so it's picked up already, so never mind.
It works. It worked.
Can I ask, just curious, what does the high school graduation have to do with us? 'Cause that was on the schedule.
TV.
Gotcha. Nice.
The high school kids are kind of important, you know.
It's a very valid question,
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
but it's because of ETV. They're all there, so.
It does. Okay.
So we've been, kind of knocked out a couple times in the past, so we're learning. And it's like, well, if we just modify our meeting schedule, we won't get this.
Okay. Applications to be received.
Madam Chair, we have 4 applications being received tonight, one which came in after the agenda was done. First one is PH 3132 for 780 to 786 Enfield Street. Just for the record, the GIS notes it as 786, but it's got like a little strip of different addresses. This is an application for a special use permit for a change of use to motor vehicle sales. Mohammed Shihira applicant, Sean Realty LLC owner, map 29, lot 3, KSS DOD and BG zone. Item B, PH 3133 for 54 Hazard Avenue, application for a special use permit for an automatic car wash. Russell Speeders Car Wash of Connecticut, LLC applicant. Enfield Station, LLC owner, map 56, lot 26, BR zone. Item C, PH number 3134MA for 90 Elm Street, application for a zone change from Business Regional to Special Development District. With Sonia Acquisitions, LLC applicant. Enfield Square Realty, LLC, plus Enfield CH, LLC, plus Enfield Nassam, LLC owners. Map 42, lot 29. Maps 43, lots 16, 17, 24, 26, 29, 30, 31. And map 45, lot 75, BR zone. Item D, PH 3135MA. This is for 85 and 100 Bright Meadow Boulevard. Application for a zone change from BR to SDD. 100 Bright Meadow Associates LLC applicant owner. Enfield Development Associates LLC owner of 85 Bright Meadow. Map 35, lots 44 and 220 BR zones.
Okay.
I got a question. With respect to 90 Elm Street, when was that received, today?
Tonight, yes.
No, well, it was officially received,
Tonight.
officially received tonight, but we received it in the office over a week ago.
Okay, I'm just curious because the
It
person
was-
who spoke,
It was on the agenda.
yeah, because the person who spoke referred to all of the changes that were made to it. And I'm like, we haven't even received it yet, and what changes?
It was on the agenda tonight.
In the paper too, it's in the Hearn and the.
It's been in the paper, so as soon as we get an application, we post it on the website.
Oh, so it's been, so she had reviewed it?
She
Right.
reviewed it on the website,
Yeah, okay.
so therefore somehow.
I was just curious as
It's
to, you
in
know,
the system.
that it was already posted. Fine, yep.
So didn't that go to wetlands first, or no?
This is for the zone change.
It was only for zone change,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Zone changes.
Okay, so there's no
Wetlands.
official plans yet.
And that, correct me if I'm wrong, it's also in the flood zone, isn't it?
There are portions in the flood zone,
yeah.
Yeah.
but first would be the zone change with the blessing of the informal master plan.
Right, I'm just
And
like,
wetlands.
they're gonna have to
and-
go through
and
everything.
engineering,
Yeah.
Site plan, special use permit for any
there's more.
rezone
right,
to
there's a
SDD.
lot to this, it's not,
I would just keep in mind that the official record for this application for anybody to speak will be on the 25th.
Assuming it's heard on that night.
okay. Any opportunities and unresolved issues?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Favor?
Stand up.
All right, we're gone.
I have it 8:31 p.m.